Здравствуйте. Доброе утро. My name is Milt, Dr. Milt Garrett. No, I'm not a physician. I'm an academician. And as a result, my job around the world is to help others prosper. For the last 43 years, I have been the chief executive officer and the owner of a company called Garrett Resources Group, where we've had opportunity to serve people in 7 different countries, including Ukraine, Russia, and Crimea. And our mission has been to help organizations, public and private, anywhere, improve their competitive edge, their profits, their reputation by working on their management systems. For the last 23 years, I have been responsible for working with the entrepreneurs across Russia's 11 time zones. So I've worked with clients. I have clients from the Baltic to the Pacific, from the Arctic Circle to the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So I have my feet in both countries now and in the past. And as a result, I want to talk about some of the things that I discovered while I was in Russia and also while I was in Crimea. Some important things, I think. So I began this relationship in Russia and Crimea as a member of Rotary International. I'm a Rotarian. The Rotarians' mission is to serve others, and we are a philanthropic group as well as we believe in world peace, stability, and goodwill between populations. That's what I've been doing. Also, this relationship got started through Sharon Tennyson's organization in San Francisco called the Center for Citizen Initiatives. And if you don't know Sharon, you know about CCI, most of you watching this probably do, then I really commend that you get to visit with her and be part of this economic citizen diplomacy trip that's going back in June and July next year. I was in Crimea in September of 2019. My purpose of being there, of course, was a member of the citizen diplomacy effort sponsored by CCI, Sharon. And as a result, as a scholar, what I'm going to share with you are my influence from my sources and my influence of conversations. I visited with people in hotels and bars. I visited with people on the street inadvertently. I visited people with the help of Tatiana Bukarina. I have been all over that country for 23 years and down in Crimea. And some of the things I've discovered about Crimea are Bolshoi. I mean, big, they're marvelous. It's wonderful. And some of the things as interviewed people in Crimea, you know, they're just like us. They like to laugh, dance. And you know, when you've been around, when you strip off the veneer on people, we're generally all alike. We really are. And so one of the things I discovered is they are so much alike that they are concerned about their pension years. They're concerned about their economic welfare presently, about how they may sustain their economy and how their children will prosper under the economic sanctions in the future and climate change. I also discovered that their roads and their bridges and their highways, they are vastly superior to ours here. And the reason I say that is guy just recently paid off $2,800 on car repairs from the roads across America. I've gone from the Atlantic to the Pacific and back. And we have infrastructure problems. Now, I'm not going to develop that on this presentation, but I commend to you that you go to Crimea and visit. And look, it's a beautiful country. It's warm, and their infrastructure is improving dramatically. The reason is because the Russian Federation has put over 15 billion US value dollars into their restoration. I've got to say that Crimea is a beautiful place, and you really ought to go. And by the way, don't be afraid of going. Forget what the State Department says about it being dangerous. It's not. Remember, folks, the last sentence of the Star Spangled Banner is, "We're from the home of the brave." So when I got home, as one of the brave, I think, I've been asked by dozens of people in Rotary Clubs and in Starbucks and other places and friends and family, what was that referendum? Or is that an invasion? Or was that an illegal annexation by Russia? Well, as a scholar, let me talk about that a minute. I am a scholar. I was a member of the faculty and a dean and a director of HR for a university with an international reputation for 27 years. So I know what scholarship is about, and I know what research is, and I know how to develop and do historical research after interviewing. So one of the things I remember is what Mom and Dad said when they were raising me, and we said that to our kids. There are always two sides to every coin. There are two sides to every story. And Mom said, son, be ever alert. So being ever alert, as I interviewed maybe 100 people more or less in Crimea, and I have clients in over 240 cities across Russia, so I know about the research and being alert. I then discovered a number of things. Number one, then we also know historically that Catherine the Great, Catherine II, reclaimed Crimea after the Ottoman Empire took it. So no matter how you look at it, Crimeans are Russians to the core. By language, by culture, by religion, by historical, they are Russians. They're not Ukrainians. Now, how does Ukraine come into play? Because in 1954, Premier Khrushchev in Moscow had some political problems down in Ukraine. So he decided he'd give Crimea, the history says, he'd give Crimea to Ukraine for their 300th anniversary. Remember 1954? So he had some political problems to solve, and apparently that's solved the political problems. So for 59 years, they were part of Ukraine, but they are not Ukrainians. But he did not give the naval base, the only naval base that does not freeze over in the south for Russia, did not give Sevastopol to Ukraine. So when we say the little green men left and invaded and took over the government buildings, that is incorrect. Those military came from that naval base. So 80% of the people on the base were Russians and the rest were Ukrainian. And after the referendum, they went home. Now, what's this referendum thing? Well, compliments of Regis here. I have been given the 58-page rationale from the independent Parliament of Crimea. I also have been given the 7-page rationale from the Russian Federation called the Analytical Report Concerning Legitimacy of the Crimean Referendum. I also have at my disposal the 23-page international law perspective that was written by Christian Marxson that the West has used as our legal argument to say that it was illegal annexation. I have 3 documents, all of which are based on legal points of view. That is to say, the Russians and the Ukrainians, the Russians and Crimeans do have legal positions. The United States and the West is not the only country that has laws and integrity and ethics. So my study of these 3 documents tells me that the position from the West and the United Nations is incorrect. I come down and stand on behalf of the Crimeans in this one. Remember, I've got 23 years over in and out there. My feet are in both. And I also am looking after a family here in Colorado from the Donbass region. So I get news from all sources. And I have a friend here very close who's from the Volgograd region. So one of the things Dad reminds me is you can't kid an old kidder. So this is where I stand firm on this. Sanctions I've been asked about when I come home. Well, sanctions have been pretty rough on Crimea. They used to get 100 cruise ships a year. Now they don't get any, or they didn't when I was there. And as a result, they've had to learn to do what we all do. It's called adaptation. That's a human condition that we all do. Talk about sanctions. Let me run back up to the north in Russia. I have a family, I have a husband and wife team, Alisa and Nikita. They have a construction company and they rent and lease auxiliary equipment for construction sites, elevators, and so forth. So I asked them about sanctions. They say, sanctions? That's good. It's been good for us. I don't know why they've been good. Because we're making money. You're making money? Why is that? Because we no longer have American competition. They're really tickled to death about the source of their income. I have another client up in Ferrum. Now, this is only 2 stories out of many I have. I have another family client in Ferrum that's a dental company in 4 different cities. The CEO's name Yuri. He says, sanctions, I can't buy from Germany anymore. So now I'll buy from Spain and Denmark. And I'm seriously looking at buying high quality equipment out of China. So there you are, 2 sides to that story too. Well, lastly, I'm asked, why did I choose, and I did choose to join the Friends of Crimea Club USA. I did it because I believe in the fairness doctrine. I think it's the fair thing to do. Remember, I have my feet in both countries. And I have done my research. And I think it's important to remember that after all the research that the Crimeans have been part of Russia for all these years, one last thing I'd like to say in closing is to share a few words from John F. Kennedy. And Kennedy said, "It would do us well to remember there are few, if any, issues where all the truth, all the right, and all the angels are on one side." Spasibo большое. Spokojной noci. До свидания. Пока-пока. My name is Dr. Milt Garrett. Bye-bye.